Hey guys, welcome back to Grand Tactician. We will be continuing the Grand Tactician series, but in this video I'm going to show you how Manpower exactly works. It's intertwined to the economy just like the industry tutorial I did last time, so there will be some connections, but without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so I'm going to start by going to the Army Management screen and the Recruitment screen. When you see me play the Let's Plays, I don't bring this page up because it saves me time, so I don't exactly bring this up. However, I'm going to teach you something here. You'll see right now we have 42,926 volunteers nationwide. We have a army size of 100 and something thousand volunteers in the field right now. But you'll see that each state has their own support of the war. Okay, this directly affects the volunteers that you get from this state, so-called state, every month or even daily, because technically it's a daily tick, but if you wait a month, that's when you're going to get the best return. Now, here's the thing. I want to see if I have the project for recruitment offices set up, and I want you guys to remember this number here, okay? I want you to remember the 42,926. I want to see if I have that project yet, because I won't be able to exactly show you what I want to show you until that is done. Last time I checked, it was almost completely done, so I'm going to see if that's done, and if it is, I'm going to activate the 10% modifier. Yes, it is done. Now watch this. I'm going to click this, and recruitment offices just got a 10% modifier. Now remember that number I told you guys to remember, okay? Because it's very important. Now let's go to the Army of Shenandoah, just for a example here. Okay. Now I'm gonna fast forward this about 24 hours. Then we're gonna go back to the recruitment pool and check it afterwards. Okay, it's about midnight. I don't know if it takes any further to get the daily tick, but let's go check. I know sometimes the projects take a while to actually enact, so we might not get the full amount until later. We do have 7 armies. Let me go check on those armies and see where they're at, just to do so real quick, and then we'll get back into it. Yeah, but those guys are leaving, so I don't really have that. We did just get done with the battle technically, so without further ado, let's go look at the manpower here, because I do want you guys to see this here. So if we go, and I'm gonna promote Joseph Johnson to Major General, but if we go to one of these commanders and we click the add brigade button here, okay, you'll notice that the manpower is actually going down. Now, the reason why that is the case, here's another thing I want to show you, is when I recently took losses. So when you take losses, the recruitment goes down a little bit. The manpower goes down a little bit because they got to replace who died and wounded and stuff like that. And then the people that remain wounded, you know, they come back eventually. If you have them in an area with a field hospital, it's better. But as time goes on, I'm going to wait a couple of days here, and I want you guys to see what actually happens. Right now, they're recuperating losses, so I'm gonna give it some time and see what we got going on here. We do have a weapon shipment done. What is that? That's the 14-pounder James 8-piece. Okay, so I'm gonna go back and get that done real quick. And while we're on that subject, I will explain something else as well while we're on this page here. I'm gonna order 8 more pieces because the daily change wasn't all that much, so it's gonna be 8 more pieces here. 59 pieces for, no, 29 pieces for 8 more pieces of the Napoleon. Okay, so while we're on the production screen here, your industry actually has an effect on your population growth. And you might be thinking, Lee, how is that possible? Well, because the more industry jobs you have, especially if you have the private sector do it for you because they don't overbuild, you actually get a immigration aspect to the States. People from Europe come from Europe to the states that you own. Okay? So even your population is not a static number. They come for the jobs and all that, etc. Okay? But whatever is left when all the jobs are taken, okay, it goes to your manpower pool. Let me see if there's any difference that made here. Now, as you can see, now we have 43,122 nationwide. Okay? That's what I'm saying. Your manpower is not a static number. It is a number that ticks over time. So you do not have to be aggressive as all get out whenever you play this game as Confederacy. It's actually better if you play the defensive game. And of course, sometimes you gotta let the Union have their way because of that. But primarily, if you do it right, you don't have to be on the offensive all the time. As a matter of fact, early game like this, nah, don't bleed your manpower. Now we're going to wait another 24 hours and we're going to check it again. It might go down, but it proves the same concept, guys. Because the manpower fluctuates, but if it keeps going up, then that's good for us. But I'm going to check this periodically, okay, just to prove my point. As you can see, it is now 43,650. It was 43,100 something. That's what I'm saying, guys. You think the manpower is a static number? No. It is a fluctuating number. Okay? You do not have to do the draft unless you absolutely have to. Now, let's go back to the project tree here, because there's a couple aspects that you have to take in consideration too. Now, propaganda, okay? Propaganda is very crucial. This takes a lot of time to do this, guys. I'm not going to lie, you have to save a lot of political money to get propaganda. But what this is it makes your state support go up by 1% the first time you do it, and then second time you do it, 2%. And I believe it's a daily tick, but every time you do this, it's not a 5% modifier like the other ones. It's a 1% modifier. But now let's go back to the recruitment page so you can understand what I'm telling you. If we go back to the recruitment page, okay, since I did not unpause the game, the recruitment page is the same. However, going back to the state support for every state, okay, you have a set amount of volunteers that you get daily based on state support. Now, why do I bring up propaganda? Is because when you have propaganda, state support ticks up, which increases the amount of volunteers that you get daily and monthly, whatever. Okay, you're gonna get the greatest return every month, but it goes up every day. Alright, unless it has to recuperate losses, and then it's gonna fluctuate up and down. Now, another thing that I forgot to mention when I increased the modifier on the recruitment offices project. So let's go back to the recruitment offices project just for a moment here. I gotta find it on the screen here, and then I'll start talking about it again. Recruitment offices. Let me read you the description for this. It's the establishment and management of recruitment offices across the nation with a local and effective recruiters managing the nation's recruitment effort. Is more volunteers are likely to offer their services for the nation's cause. With each level of this project increases the number of volunteers available. Okay? Now, going back to what I said before, with the state support and the daily manpower that you get every day, okay, the higher you get this to go, the more modifier you have on that daily tick. So do you have to resort to the draft? Yes and no. It depends how you play it. If you're desperate, yes, you do. But if you play the defensive war as the Confederacy until you have the proper stuff to do it, and you're tactically smart, then you don't. Because as long as you get, these three projects, the recruitment offices, propaganda, and you keep winning, the state support will go up. Now, there is war weariness. As the war goes on, the state support will get lower and lower. But that's why you need propaganda to counter that. That only works so much. However, the biggest boost in state support that you will get is actually through battlefield victories. If you get a minor victory, you'll get a minor increase. If you get a major victory, you'll get a major increase to your support. It also depends on what cities have fallen and what cities you have. Okay? Now, sometimes you do have to give up ground to buy yourself time to give your men the equipment they need and stuff like that. So you got to give up territory to the Union or whatever nation you're playing as. The concept is the same, to buy yourself time. However, I'm using the Confederacy because it's the hardest faction to play as. Okay? And I'm putting these master classes out here so that people know, hey, you don't have to go with the old YouTuber meta. I want you guys to learn how to play this game right. Effectively, that is recruitment and manpower and population broken down for you guys. Remember, as long as you have a decent credit rating and you don't let it crash. Now, this is the attachment to the economic side of it. Okay? If you do that industry masterclass I have on here, your economy will actually begin to grow, even as the Confederacy. Now, as a result, you will have people that come from Europe, like I explained earlier in the video, that come from Europe over to the Confederacy in this case, which increases the state population, which does two things. increases your population, therefore you get more recruitment every day, every month. Okay? Whatever the private businessmen don't use in the factories, they go enlist in the army because they need a job. So the whole thing, guys, is intertwined together. You have a crappy economy, people aren't going to immigrate to a place where it's all crappy. That's why the economy system is very important that you manage it. But that's recruitment and manpower broken down for you guys. And I do want to fast forward one more day so you guys can see even more evidence of this. Hang on, guys. Because that 10% modifier is insane. So let's just wait another 24 hours and see what's what. It might go up, it might go down, but it'll probably go up. Alright, let's pause the game real quick. And I'll check the manpower one more time so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. As you can see, 43,853 nationwide. And here's the other kicker, guys. I want to show you something else. I know I did my outro already, but the other kicker is this. I'm not even on 30-year contracts. I'm just on 2. Alright? So technically, if you wanted to, now I don't suggest this, you could stay on the entire war on 12-month contracts. Oh yes, I forgot something else too. Let's go back to the manpower pool here. Actually, I'm going to go to Army Management screen here. Now, I'm going to click on brigade. I'm sorry I'm making this a little bit longer for you guys, but I forgot these crucial points. These guys have a 7th month on their recruitment enlistment, right? I want to keep that in mind here, okay? There's a reason I'm saying this right now, because you'll understand. Anyway, these guys have 7 months until they go home. Now, let's go to national morale. 94, okay? As long as you have a 94 morale or higher, or a little bit lower than this, okay? What you can do is when these contracts are up, such as this brigade here, 7 months goes up, there's a chance you won't lose that brigade. They'll enlist for a 2-year term. And they'll come back for a 2-year term or whatever your contract law is. Okay? Sometimes they'll re-enlist. So, you won't lose the army that you have standing. However, if your morale is crappy, there's a chance you will. But there's always a chance that not everybody will re-enlist. So that's a factor as well. You may have to send some people back to the States to get the rest of their contract mates filled back up to 3,000 men or whatever brigade strength you use. But that is manpower, guys. That is manpower. Okay? It's not a static number. It does grow based on state support and the population. I'll see you guys next time, and God bless. Again, I apologize, I forgot those aspects, but hopefully this helped you understand manpower even better than before.